Hey, good morning. Happy Friday. Happy podcast day. I'm saying good morning. You're probably not going to get this till afternoon. But I am here with Stacey Adams. I just want to welcome you to the Citizens Advisory Podcast presented by the Citizens Advisory of Pennsylvania. I'm Jess Stahlnecker, Executive Director. Stacey Adams is joining us for a second time. She was our guest on episode 13. We spoke a little bit about homeschooling and some really cool new options popping up across the state. Today, we are going to talk about a little different subject. But she's a mom and really she is a parental rights rock star. She works so diligently, makes all kinds of really informative videos just to help parents across the state. And I am so appreciative of what she does. And I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Um, so she's going to share a little story with us regarding some confirmed corruption. One of the, and I say confirmed because a lot of times corruption is assumed, but there's no, fact to it, or at least something tangible that we can see. This is going to be an interesting story. And I think it's really important for people to listen because this kind of thing is probably going on in your district too. We need to expose these types of things. And so I am going to leave it to Stacey to kind of give us the story about Blackhawk and what was the other one?
It's Moon Area School District.
Moon area. So these are like
Mhm.
in Beaver County,
Beaver
right?
County, Pennsylvania. So it's like about like a half hour north of Pittsburgh. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So
So
she's
we're
going
on
to
the
give us
other
a
side of the
background.
state from you guys.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, but
Um,
I thank you for having me again, Jess. I love Citizens Advisory and what you guys are doing. I remember when I met you guys years back, I said, this is the group that is going to get stuff done. I remember telling my husband that after I left meeting you guys. I was very impressed with you.
awesome.
But yeah, so we're going to go over what happened with Blackhawk School District and Moon Area School District. It was in the news, so you can actually look this up to confirm. But essentially what happened is you had a superintendent from Blackhawk School District and a Moon Area school board member working in tandem to get their respective children hired at each other's school districts.
Mhm.
There was an ethics commission investigation. It was detailed. It was a couple years long. So it's not something that was quickly done.
Right.
And through that, they we're going to go over how that happened. But essentially, the end result was Mark Scapey, who is on the Moon Area School Board, is still sitting on the school board currently. So we need to remember that for the upcoming election. And
Mhm.
then you have the Beaver County, or I'm sorry, Blackhawk School District over in Beaver County. Their superintendent, Dr. Robert Poshupak, was fired, but he has announced in a news article that he plans to appeal, which we're going to address that later on too. But he does still currently hold a position at Western Beaver County School District. So, which is
As a
crazy to me.
superintendent.
Correct. So, the fact that he was even working these two schools at the same time, superintendents are extremely busy. I don't know how you can have two schools that you're superintendent at,
Right.
um, contracted out with both. So, anyway, so we're going to start with Mark Scapey first, because he kind of, from the ethics commission report, he kind of was the initiator of contacting a lot of the different people. So we'll start with him. So his son is Vincent Scapey, and he wanted a job for his son at the Blackhawk School District as a gym teacher.
Okay.
So through connections, he got actually through the solicitor of Blackhawk, who used to be the solicitor of Moon, got them in contact with each other. He was
Love
the
those
go-between
solicitors. We love
between
them.
them. And this is in the Ethics Commission report. This is not me speculating. This is written in black and white. So the solicitor was kind of the go-between, connected them to, and Vincent Scapey was going for the gym teacher job at Blackhawk, and the only open position at Moon Area was a long-term substitute position for Jenna Poshupak, which is Dr. Robert Poshupak's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it gets a little like going back and forth, but I want to go over the manipulation tactics that they used. So Scapey was going to the school principal, the superintendent, and he was trying to say, hey, you need to hire Jenna Poshupak. Well, at the time, the principal with the open position for the long-term substitute had somebody in mind. Her last name was Bennett. Said she's a better fit. She's been with the school district for a while. She's substituted for us many times. And, she really felt she was a better fit.
Right.
That's who she was advocating to get into that position.
Mm-hmm.
So the superintendent at the time, last name was Milanovic. She was told by Scapey that she needs to hire Jenna Poshpak. And in this ethics commission report, Milanovic stated that she felt, based on prior interactions, that she had no choice but to hire Jenna. So that's concerning in itself, because
Right.
what prior interactions is this board member doing to intimidate or influence, harass? I don't know, but I feel like that the whole bullying system about getting what people want in the school system needs to be addressed.
And
So
I'm going to just stop you right there, because
yeah,
that is super concerning to me. And especially, and I'm going to bring this to light just because from an outsider perspective, I mean, until I read all these documents, I had no idea the story even happened. Okay. But that superintendent, Milanovic, is a female.
correct.
And the board member who was manipulating her is a male. And I'm just putting that out there. I'm just saying, because I'm just saying. But that's concerning to me, where he feels like he can manipulate her. Is it because she's a female? Like, is it because he sensed that she was, vulnerable to manipulation? Like, that just, these types of things, that really stood out to me when you just said that. So I'm gonna let
It's
you
almost like a
continue.
narcissistic
Correct.
trait, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, who knows what their interaction was, but I think that should be investigated in itself. Because
Absolutely.
we're talking about a school board member that is influencing decisions to benefit himself, which is
Mhm.
benefit his son. I mean, his son has a salary, he still holds that job.
Right.
So, we need to address that, because I mean, obviously, how many times have we heard, oh, you got to know somebody to get hired, or, I can't speak up because I'm afraid to lose my job. I mean, especially over COVID, we heard that with the masking, or the gender stuff. I don't agree with it, but I can't speak up because I'm going to lose my job.
Right.
Like, we shouldn't be afraid to speak up. And, it's, and the fact that that's even a question, if they speak up, if they don't feel something's right and they're going to lose their job, that's a hostile work environment.
Right.
So anyway, so Vincent, or I'm sorry, so Mark Scapey convinced them to hire Jenna Poshpak, even though there was somebody else that was better suited for the job.
Right.
So, are we doing a disservice to the kids by having her in there? Could there have been a better teacher to bring up the scores for the school district, the testing scores? The kicker of this one is that was a temporary position.
Mm-hmm.
And the deal behind the scenes was that Jenna was to get a permanent position. So, in fact, Poshpak called the solicitor and was complaining about it. And how we know this, it was in the ethics commission with phone records.
Okay.
So Poshpak was complaining that Jenna didn't get the full-time position. So Scapey set it up to have the vote to then create a full-time position for Jenna Poshpak to have.
Of course. Yes.
Now she's a full-time permanent position. Again, that brings up the question to me. If I was Misty Bennett was her name. If I was Misty, I would be like, maybe, or any of the other candidates that they overlooked, I'd be like, I should contact an attorney, because I missed out on a salary. I missed out on, they paid for Jenna to take her classes at Pitt for her master's. Like, she missed out on that. And this is a couple years ago that this started. So
and essentially a full-time position that didn't exist when she was a sub.
Correct. Yeah, correct. So that was kind of what happened at keep wanting to say Blackhawk, not Blackhawk, at Moon Area School District. That's how Jenna Poshpak got in. Scapey kind of pulled the strings, influenced the superintendent to present this candidate. And again, when the candidate gets presented to the board, they think that they went through all the proper channels of interviews, that this is who the principal wants, the superintendent. They felt that they were the best candidate that was brought forward to them. So that's why it's just like we were saying, it's just a rubber stamp. Like
Right.
it's just done at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, so then we go to Robert Postupak and how he influenced the hiring of Mark Scapey's son, Vincent, for the gym teacher position.
At Blackhawk.
Correct. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know it gets a little like back and forth because
It's like a little bit of a soap opera.
It is. It is. I think, yeah, we should like reenact it. It should be like an after school special. So anyway, so Dr. Robert Postupak, through the solicitor and connecting him with the Moon Area School Board member, Mark Scapey, they made that deal. You hire my kid. But Postupak was adamant his daughter gets a permanent position, and he agreed that he would hire Scapey's son, Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
So Vincent was went and applied, did not pass the first round of interviews. They didn't want him. He didn't fit what they were looking for. He had outdated information that he was presenting to them for nutrition. So the personnel committee did not pass him through the first round. There were other people that went. There were 13 candidates that went through the first round, or 13 candidates. Yeah. So Vincent Scapey did not make it to the second one. So again, we have a potential amount of teachers that could sue,
Right.
Civilly sue these people for what happened. So what happened is how the manipulation happened with Dr. Robert Postupak is, he found out that the personnel committee didn't push Vincent Scapey through. He's like, oh, I made this deal. I got to make sure it gets moved forward. Mm-hmm. So he then contacts the principal at Blackhawk that was hiring the gym teacher and said, you need to put him back on the interview list. And she was under the impression that was okay because, again, one side's not talking to the other and there's no communication. So maybe there needs to be more communication,
right?
Or this all done out in the open, So he convinced the principal to come in and bring him in an interview, and essentially was influencing them to keep pushing him through to the next round of the third round. And at the very end of it, after they, went through all their candidates, what was presented to the board were two people. Vincent Scapey was one, and another gentleman. And there were two open positions. So again, it's just a rubber stamp moment at that point.
There you go. Rubber stamp it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got your two candidates for the two open positions and they manipulated it to get it that way.
Correct. Yeah. So again, it's just, I want people to understand that, people are like, oh, how can this corruption exist? How do people not know? Well, these people who do this are super manipulative. They know how to work people. I mean, you're in those positions because you know how to speak to the public, right? You know how to handle different types of situations and personalities. And they have their connections. They know who they have to go talk to in order to get things done. So, I just don't want people to think as a whole the school is corrupt or that principal was or this person was or that. But, when somebody's pulling the strings behind the scenes, sometimes you don't even realize what happened until it's done.
Right. And we as a public would never even know. What we see on the board minutes or in the board agenda is two candidates, two open positions, and what we feel was the proper process to bring these candidates to a vote. That's correct. What we see as the public. So, unless somebody has a little tip where obviously an anonymous person filed this ethics report, which was great, and then we filed some right to knows to get additional information. I know you did as well, for this particular situation. But if we didn't have like a little tidbit that this was going on, would anybody ever have even filed a report? Will we ever even know this information? I mean, this stuff probably happens all the time. In fact, I'm looking in my own mind as you're talking, I'm thinking about all the things that I know about my district. And I'm like, wow, there's definitely some stuff going on, but I don't have an ethics commission report that I can be like, yes, this is definitely happening.
Well, I mean, you can go on the
Right.
ethicscommission.gov, and I mean, I have in the video that I think we'll link up at the end that I made about this. It goes into more detail. You can see the screenshots.
Yeah.
I put all the links so you can go read the ethics commission, and you can look anybody else up that might have a report on there. So if you know somebody that did, or you're curious, you just throw their name in there and find it.
Yeah.
But you were telling me about a story when you were going to get hired as a teacher.
Yes. So
Yeah.
it's funny when I initially got a teaching job right out of college at a large district, but it was about 45 minutes away from my house. And so when I was there for a few years, I knew I always wanted to move back to the area where I was from. And so I knew that there was an opening for a biology teacher at the district where I graduated from.
Mhm.
And my dad happened to know the principal, and he's the one who said, "Hey, have your daughter apply." Okay. So I did. I went through all the proper, procedures to apply for that position. And my dad called me the one day and said that this principal had asked him, "Who does your family know on the board?" And I was like, "What?" Like, we didn't know. I mean, if we knew anyone, I was not going to do anything, contact anyone, or like try to make any kind of deal. So I walked away. I didn't want that job just because I was like, this is so shady. And I ended up getting a job at, where we live now. I ended up getting a job in that district, but that didn't have any kind of weird backdoor deals that,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and I'm not, and so like I think a lot of people will be like, well, it happens all the time. Like,
Yes.
I'm not opposed to saying like if Pack and Scapy just told their kids, hey, there's an opening. I mean, you're in the same industry, right?
Right.
You're in the same circles, you're gonna know about job openings. Like, I have no problem if they gave them a heads up and said, hey, just letting you know there's an open position. I know you're looking. Why don't you go and apply? I mean, that's fine. I don't think
Mhm.
there's anything that would be, violating any type of ethics there, because
Right.
as long as we're going through, but when you're pulling strings behind the scenes to try to get somebody hired,
Mhm.
or you're overlooking really good candidates, I mean, you're doing a disservice to the school, to the coworkers, to their peers, to the students,
To
and
the
to the
students, you're
taxpayers.
not getting the best possible candidate in front of those kids.
And you're paying a lot of money. So I think personally, I think that they both should be responsible for the salaries and pay those, because they benefited financially off
Mhm.
of hiring their kids.
Right.
So, it's just, I kind of, I really feel like that they should pay that back. But their punishment, which is the kicker of all of this, so Scapy, being the board member, got fined $750 and a
Mhm.
slap on the wrist, and pretty
Yep.
much said, don't do it again.
Right.
Um, and then I'll go into what else they got found in the ethics commission too.
Okay.
Um, but Poshupak, same thing. He got $750 fine. The board did not, the ethics commission did not recommend to fire him. He was fired after the school board did their due diligence and followed the letter of the law and found that he violated the moral code of the position,
Okay.
and they fired him.
Good.
So, but yeah, $750. Again, he still holds his superintendent position at Western Beaver County, which
Mhm.
I think there should be a million right to knows of them now.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah, for financials. And I will say they both of them got in trouble for not reporting accurate financial interest statements. So they both had to report amended ones. Um, and I think that's, so you're not reporting your financial statements accurately, you're making backdoor deals. They shouldn't even be in education or touching it at all, or anything with
Right.
tax dollar money. Yeah.
They should be disqualified from ever sitting on a board of directors for a school district or being superintendent of a district. Out.
Yeah.
Like, that's just, yeah, it's
Well,
a slap on the wrist. Don't do it again.
yeah. And there was a situation. So in my school district, and listen, these people don't like me very much. They're gonna, if they find out I mentioned their name, oh, I guarantee you they love to threaten to sue people. And they've already, they're not people you really want to mess with, I guess we'll say. Again, it's like that. Almost like these school districts are like a mafia feel.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, but yeah, they at one point he was a school director, president on the board at Elizabeth Forward. And at the time he was here, if I remember correctly, he was also in trouble because when he was the financial officer at West Mifflin School District, he was caught stealing stuff from the baseball team. Or was that Wilkinsburg? I don't know. There was Wilkinsburg, West Mifflin, EF. He was in a lawsuit with people from Connellsville. And now he's still the superintendent at River Valley.
Right.
So, which is in Indiana County. But there, you can look at the news articles. His name's Phil Martell. In fact, I made a video about all of that, and they weren't too happy about it. So, yeah. So they, and the reason why I even started down that rabbit hole, and this is kind of where we're leading into the Poshupak and Scapy, is that when the masking happened with my kids, my daughter was refusing to wear it. And so the harassment that parents told me that happened in that school from teachers and administrators, and especially from the principal, which is Phil Martell's wife, it was just, it like broke my heart, because you're entrusting these people for the best interest and to respect their rights.
Right.
And the last straw was they were going to give my daughter in school suspension. So I was like, I'm done. We're going. But it just leads to the fact that they work on, certain people in districts work on using intimidation tactics and harassment to get things done in what they want and to continue to hold those positions.
Right.
I think it's crazy. Just like Martell is holding another superintendent job. I mean, literally you can Google his name and there's news article after news article. He was caught double dipping. He was for travel expenses. I mean, he shouldn't be anywhere near a school district. But yet he's still holding that position, just like Poshupak and Scapy still holding their respective positions in the school districts or school arena, education arena. It's beyond me. I don't understand.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. The big concern, though, I think with Dr. Robert Poshupak is there was a news article, Beaver County Radio Times. It's in that video. There's a link to it. He talked about he wants to appeal it. So that, to me, this was what happened. The offenses that happened were criminal.
Yeah.
Like I don't want, people might say, oh, it's just him trading favors. No. What he did was actually criminal and punishable by jail time and, $10,000 fine. So this is not something to take lightly, is essentially what I'm trying to say. So he wants to appeal it based on that the school board was illegally using the ethics commission's findings. And because the ethics commission didn't recommend filing criminal charges, he's saying that he should still hold his position at Blackhawk. So that leads me to another thing. Just because he's not charged, the ethics commission said he's not charged, does not mean the police will not charge him.
Right.
There's that potential out there. Right. I know there was a news article about Mark Scapy that said that they were still police were investigating it. So that leaves it open for more tax dollar money fighting possibly civil lawsuits, criminal charges. So if that board gets flipped, I think you have a great board at Blackhawk. There were two people that voted to keep him on, which was Rachel Klein and Dan Jones. Maybe vote them out and find somebody to replace them.
Right.
The rest of them, they fought and they stood up. And I give them a lot of respect, especially with everything they're dealing with. I mean, they get slandered, they get called names, they get really, I mean, it's devastating that people are so mean when they're really just trying to do what these people took oaths for, the law, and doing the best for their community and their students.
Exactly. And that's what's so sad. It's like if you do the right thing, if you're trying to do the right thing, it's almost like you get attacked even more than if you're doing the wrong thing, right? And I think it's so important to emphasize that, there is future liability of tax dollars going to fight to defend their actions. And you just said it, not only with just legal issues, but with, law enforcement and that kind of thing. But if these people who lost out on their jobs ever decided to file a civil suit, the evidence is all there in black and white. They could,
Especially now that this is completed, it's done.
right.
Both of them, Scapey and Pachupak, both signed consent agreements, essentially admitting guilt of saying, yes, I agree to everything the commission found. I'm signing it. I signed to my punishment. And again, I personally, if I were those people, I'd be contacting an attorney.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would, especially coming to find this out. And, who knows, like, were they unable to find more employment after that? Like,
Right.
what kind of issues did they run into that financially set them back? I would absolutely be looking into the possibility of suing them
Oh,
civilly.
yeah. I mean, especially after all this report came out. I mean, we could always speculate. We can always speculate, well, so and so got this job because so and so is blah 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 blah. That there's always the speculation, but this right here is confirmed corruption. This is not speculation. So I think that that's the difference. And I mean, honestly, to me, I'm not an attorney, but I would think that this was an open and shut case. And
Mm-hmm.
so you got like this, and who's going to pay the bill? Who's going to pay the bill if they do sue?
Taxpayers.
The taxpayers, the people who live in those districts. So what a shame, right? That
Yeah. And this, yeah.
there really is no accountability on their part. It really is just going to fall on the taxpayers.
Yeah, and this is even going out to Western Beaver County. I mean, you still have him on as a superintendent. Um, if he's having to have legal fees, because he's still in the educational world and there's still a solicitor, so he's still going to have to consult that solicitor.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's a different school district, he's still going to have to use that solicitor for consultation for what happened at Blackhawk.
Right.
So, and it's crazy to me. And I will say Blackhawk, they got rid of that solicitor. They have a new one in there that seems to be doing wonders.
Good.
They also have they got rid of the PSBA. They're no longer members of
Oh,
that,
that's amazing.
which is great. Yeah, I'm telling you what, this how I felt about you guys with how forward moving you were and how I thought, you guys had such a great thing going on. This is like how I feel about the Blackhawk School Board. I feel like they really have something that could lead the way for other people. And again, right now they have the majority. I think we need to keep it that way. And even though I don't live in the school district, I still think it's important that the message gets out there and people really know what happened because, people hear it in the news. It's like a minute segment.
Right.
Hey, they hired each other's kids. But when you read that ethics commission, the amount of like narcissism and manipulative tactics that are involved in order for this to happen, I would not want those people making decisions for my kids.
No.
Of the curriculum coming in, of especially now what's going on, for a buck, what would they do? Like, they're offered hey, we're going to give your school this donation, bring in this new agenda. Okay, no problem.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They're self-serving. And when you're in that position, it should not be self-serving.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So I
They're
think
public
that's
servants. They are the servants. They are elected public servants. And so they need to be, taking that seriously. And obviously, these people hold these positions, unfortunately, for their own agendas, which is sad. We always like to end with some encouragement for parents and stakeholders, taxpayers. I think it's really important that we exposed all this. Again, there's probably who knows how much corruption going on in all the different districts across the state. And so you might be asking, like, why is it important that we're like exposing this one? It's because we need to get the right people doing the right things in these elected positions. So that's number one, right, Stacey?
Mm-hmm.
And then we also want to encourage you, Stacey, we came to us, we filed a right to know on, our Citizens Advisory Pennsylvania. We filed a right to know to get some of the financial records, the amended financial records. So we have been gathering our own evidence in this as well. And Stacey, I know you filed some right to knows. We want to encourage people, if you have, any inkling that this file right to knows for these public records. If you want to expose something, you think that something's going on, use your right as a citizen to find out.
Yeah. And I think what your organization is doing is great. To become a member It's not that expensive. It's pretty affordable. And you guys help people who are afraid to file right to know, not sure how to word it, not sure how to ask it. All you have to do is email Citizens Advisory and say, this is the issue, this is the school district, this is what I want to know. And they will reach out to you. Everybody is easily, you can easily converse with you guys. It's not, we're not talking about language above our head. It's very smooth conversation that happens. And yeah, you just give you the information, you guys file the right to know, and you guys help the people after too. So people get these right to knows back and don't know what to do with them. Your organization is able to say, okay, hey, we have a legal issue going on here. We need to file more right to knows, further investigate, and they will keep you up to date. And I think that's great. Like we definitely need that. We need some centrally located information that keeps all this data and all these right to knows, because then if it happens at this school district, and we all know they're all connected, right? Just like the solicitors are all connected because they're all coming from all these big law firms. And, don't tell me they don't talk. We can't prove that, but I mean, come on, like, hey, school districts doing this. And they're representing 5, 6, 10 different school districts at once, which is crazy, because obviously you're human, you're going to influence each of those decisions of how you. So anyway, yeah, I think it's important to have that information and collectively have it, because then if you start to notice patterns, I mean, that's huge. If we need patterns. So this school district happened. This is why I wanted Citizen Advisory to address it. But even though it happened over in, Beaver County over in Western Pennsylvania, it would be great if the whole state knew what happened.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so that's where I think it's important for, even though I don't live in the district, I'm not a taxpayer at Blackhawk, but I think it's important that we still get the message out.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like when we have these types of things going on, and not just with corruption, but we're getting a ton of emails about flags, the nice different flags that are flying above the American flag in these districts. We're getting a lot of things like that. We'll do whatever it takes to make it right. And so it's important. Like, you can just go to our website, citizensadvisorypa.com, and you can file a citizens report if you have something that's going on that you're just not really sure what the next steps are. And like Stacey said, when you get the right to know back, we do read through the findings, and we will, basically give you next steps. Like, we'll give you some direction, and we'll say, it's up to you, but this is what we advise you to do if possible. And you can take it from there. But that's kind of the magic. That's really our bread and butter. That is our product that we put out to people, is our citizens reports. We help them get to the bottom of things, and then we give them, some direction to take. Because I know for me as a parent 3 years ago, I had no idea what to do. I just knew that there were some things that I was not happy with. I had no clue what to do or how to handle it. I did not even know. Here I am admitting I did not even know what a right to know was. Okay. So this is, this is really important. Right.
Well, and that's where I think, especially, you're giving the public the transparency that they are begging for. You're able to, they're like, my district is a little difficult to get information from. I have to fight them tooth and nail. They'll give me information, which I'm like, come on, there's 2 emails when this is something I knew that went on for years. Like, I know there's more to this. So it's great to have a group to be able to look to help you through that process. And like the one school board member at Blackhawk, she just read, I love it. Like, I give her mad credit for what she did, because she's really standing up. And all the pornography stuff in the libraries, people don't believe it's in there, but we need board members that are not afraid to. She literally had someone pick it off the library shelf and read from it. And I mean, they were trying to shut her down, but she actually said the public deserves to know. And we need more school board members that are not afraid to stand up and say the public deserves to know. So
100%.
And that's where I think that should be like the hashtag for everybody running. The public deserves to know. So it's just, again, we need school board members in there. We need parents and taxpayers that are more invested in finding out, even if it's to, you find nothing, just even letting the school know that there are people and multiple people in the district looking.
That are paying attention.
Correct. We'll keep them, more on the straight line. Yeah, I guess it's just more involvement. And I know it's time consuming. We all work, we have kids, there's a lot
Yep.
going on, but this is, especially with the election coming up, we have more control over what happens in our local boards than we do anywhere else. So I think it's extremely important that we find the right candidates, talk to them, message them on social media, ask to meet with them in person, to sit down and really get that one-on-one with them, because we see
They're members of your community.
Yes, they're paying tax dollars just as much as you are.
Yep.
So you might not agree on everything, but you got to find the common ground. And if it's transparency for your kids, and even though you agree with maybe what's in the schools, you should still want the transparency, because there's going to come a point in time where you don't agree with it.
Right.
And you want board members in there that's saying, you know what, okay, you're a taxpayer, you're asking for this information, I'm going to figure it out for you. I will tell you, when in a couple of the other board members, they dug through these books. They didn't have to do that.
No.
They have a policy in place that parents can opt their kids out. But what parent has the time to read all this? Like, this board did that work for the parents,
which is amazing. That is amazing.
Yes, the people that are speaking out against this board, there's people mad about the posture pack firing. There's people mad that, they're calling out these books and they want to make a difference and have things change. Like, people are mad about this, and I don't understand why. They just want transparency. I was watching the video from the last school board meeting, and the one parent was upset about the investigation in the books. It was because of wasting tax dollar money. And it's like, but you just wasted tax dollars paying somebody that didn't deserve the position at Blackhawk.
Right.
But you're worried more about investigation that could be harmful to the kids, and with sexuality and having, reading about incest and rape and at 14 years old. You're worried about tax dollars being spent on investigating that, but not worried about paying a teacher that wasn't deserved of the position. So I think anybody should want somebody in there that wants transparency and that open communication.
100%. That's a winning argument. That's a winning. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again, Stacey. This was so interesting. Such a fun conversation. And just thanks for caring enough to expose something that's not even in your own district. And we really appreciate the work that you do. We're going to link a couple of Stacey's videos in the show notes of this. So you can go ahead and watch for more detail and maybe more info on the soap opera, which will be fun. But you can also find us on Facebook and Twitter, Citizens Advisory PA. And don't forget to subscribe, share our podcast. And just a reminder that you can listen now wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you usually listen: Spotify, Apple, Amazon. And so, if you found this conversation interesting, please go ahead and share it with someone who might like to listen to. Again, thank you so much, Stacey, for joining us.
Thank you, Jess.
Bye.